That is basically a valid point to make about the whole King thing. Here's a question that I saw, I did not realize until it hit the news a lot, was that it was very white. What do you make of that? That the guy in Baltimore, the paper there said, we struggled to, our photographer, to find a picture of black people in this march. I'm okay with that. I didn't go, and I feel like, well, you talk.
Well, we had a meeting.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
And let's just say it didn't go too well for white folks, that's all.
Can we talk about how fast the cost of living in Michigan has changed? Because I swear it happened overnight. Like in 2018, you could walk into Meijer, Kroger, any of those grocery stores with $100 and you could leave with quite a bit of groceries. Now I have barely anything in my cart. I get to the register, it's $187. 2018 gas, around $2 a gallon, maybe a little more. Now we're pushing $5. And don't even get me started on rent for apartments. It used to be like $900, now it's $17. And the carpet in them is still from 2004. Car insurance, insane. Fast food, crazy high, but wages have moved like 37 cents. I think this is the craziest part about it all. People aren't buying luxury anything. Like all out here struggling over basic necessities. Why does existing in Michigan feel like a rich people activity?
I don't know how to put it into words, but I genuinely want to have a conversation about this. Okay, I genuinely, like, no disrespect, just a genuine conversation. With everything going on right now, especially in America, there's a lot of civil unrest. It's almost to the point where it's like a boiling point, where it's about to pop, where it's about to burst. Everyone is having civil unrest. It's like it's teetering onto something, but we don't know what it is yet, right? Everybody keeps saying, how could they do this? Why isn't anybody stopping anything? Like, what's going on? There was a black woman that said, and I quote, "The reason why nobody is throwing the first stone is because they're waiting for black people to throw it first." That has altered my brain chemistry because, mind you, we know the laws are going to come down to us. So of course we're going to try to stand up for others. And I've noticed immediately, especially with the ICE raids, we've seen videos of people saying, well, why haven't black people stepped in? We did this, a transactional interaction. They tie it back to Black Lives Matter. Like, it's blowing my mind. I don't know how to explain it.
Welcome everyone. I'm excited and glad to have you today. Today we're going to talk about something that has been trending on the internet. Across America, the cost of living is actually high, and this has even become one of the biggest concerns for millions of Americans. From the grocery bills are high, the everyday essentials that we need on our daily life, they're actually high. Even the renting prices is actually insane. Like, everyone actually feels the pressure, the financial pressure. And as this financial challenges affect nearly everyone, online there has been a debate of how different communities are reacting to this financial pressure. In recent weeks, social media users have sparkled claims that white Americans are actually frustrated that black Americans look less shaken by this financial situation that is happening right now in America. And this conversation have actually generated different and many comments, opinions, and different personal experiences. Many people do actually share their opinions, comments on the line, depending on actually their personal experiences or how they deal with life or their cultural background and how they usually handle their problems financially. And so I want us to know, like, there are people who are actually struggling financially deeply, and other families truly have learned to cope with difficulties in general, especially black communities over time. Doesn't shake them as much as maybe the other, and difficulties make some people strong. So if black Americans have actually faced many difficulties, many financial uncertainty, so they just learned over the years on how to be strong. And they always say that strong times build strong people. So black Americans were made from strong times and they became strong. But as we'll be watching these videos, I want you guys to make sure that, of course, one single viewpoint, it doesn't represent a whole community. So every person has the way they're dealing with their financial realities, of course. And so please do know that what we're doing here is, whatever we're going to say here, whatever you're going to hear from here, is for education purposes. It is have nothing else to do with any person. And here we respect every person's viewpoint and perspective.
I just saw a post that was just like the fact that people aren't rioting in the streets of America is truly astounding. And the first comment under it was they're waiting on black people to do it. And now that I think about it, that is literally facts. The reason why things are not happening right now the way they should and riots are not happening the way they should is because they want us to be on the front lines of it, like we always are of every revolution in American history. But this time we don't want to do it because we know how that turns out for us. It just turns out them labeling us as the usual suspects. It's just an easy excuse for them to put violence on us or attached to us as like a part of our character or something. They're afraid to be on the front lines of it themselves because they know that the perception of them is going to change afterwards, no matter what happens.
So last night I posted this on Threads. It's not a matter of black people not caring. It is the fact that whenever anything happens, someone is asking us, where are the black people? Like we are required and mandated to show up. Why are we always requested? Stop asking us where we are at and go ask your friends. Black people will always and have always been on the ground fighting, but stop requesting us like we are your own personal Avengers. Black people are on the ground doing the work. That's not the problem. We care about these things. We fight for these things. We know that not all immigrants are from Mexico or Latin America, okay? We understand that. But the issue is this constant request for us to come do labor. Like, oh, shit's hitting the fan. Where are the black people? Where are the black people at? Shit's hitting the fan. We're not your personal Avengers. We aren't superheroes. We do a lot of the work and it goes unnoticed, it goes unthanked, and that is fine. It really is, because that's what we do. We care and we fight and we organize, and we've been doing that for decades. But to come and get on these social media sites, to get on Kelly Rowland's internet and continuously say, where are the black people? Why aren't they out fighting? Is making it seem like we are obligated and mandated to show up, when who is showing up for us? Because don't worry, we are showing up. We're just fucking tired of you asking us, requesting us like we're your maid service. Oh, and one more thing. If you're asking us where we are, that lets me know that you're not even really doing the work. Because if you were doing the work, you would fucking see us.
I don't know. I think black people should just reserve compassion for themselves at this point.
Hell yeah.
I think black people should just reserve compassion for us and us alone. Because I hate to be that motherfucking person, but
No, I don't.
if you ask me, we've been too peaceful. We always marching. We always praying. We even was praying for our enemies. That's the crazy
Fuck shit.
thing. I mean, some of our ancestors was willing to get spit on,
Insane.
water holes, beat, drag, hung, all types of shit. Everything when it came down to the peaceful route. Everything imaginable. The only thing so-called black people have not tried.
I am trying to get real with myself and with other white people, and it is painful work. There's a whole lot of blame toward black people for being the cause of how white people treat them, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of that. I decided to take a closer look at slavery, since that's such a big topic in the United States. There has been slavery all over the world forever, and all colors of people have enslaved other colors of people for as long as we know about. But the transatlantic slave trade, in which Europeans brought African and Caribbean black people to the United States to be free labor in the new colonies before they were really the United States, is a whole different story of slavery. Slavery historically had to do with who won and who lost a war, who was convenient, who stumbled by at the wrong time, and so it wasn't specifically race-based. So why did these white Europeans choose black people to enslave? Because their physical differences from whites made it easier to create lies that they were biologically inferior. They invented science to defend this. It was easier to make these people who looked so different from us less human. And that lie made it easier to justify torture, rape, family separation, and death on a massive scale. And it made them, quite frankly, easier to identify if they tried to escape. The legacy didn't disappear when slavery ended. Eugenics came along and fed the racial superiority notion of whiteness, and it influenced the Nazi narrative along with the racial one. It carried over into segregation, Jim Crow, housing, policing, incarceration, education, all of that. If we're ever going to fix what's broken, we need to get curious enough to name how it got broken in the first place. White people need to get curious so we can say no more, not on my watch.
As we come to the end of this discussion, one thing really stands out, which is every person faces financial realities or financial challenges as everyone. Financial challenges that doesn't discriminate everyone, that doesn't have color, that it just everyone faces their own hardship. But again, I feel like how people grew up and the circumstances and the hardship they have. Obviously, Black Americans have had quite a lot of challenges. And so the resilience that they have built over the years, it's actually, like strong terms build strong people, as I have said. So they have built already the muscle for the hardship that for others, they might be facing for the first time. But obviously for the Black Americans, it's not their first time. They had to face way more than the financial challenges. So the financial challenges just like something that it can't shake them as maybe, they have a history of making it through the hardship. So they are sure in their hearts that they're going also to pass through this hardship, and they're going to survive through it because they have survived a lot of things, quite a lot of things compared to the other people. And so this obviously it's just to say that everyone has a way to deal with their financial challenges, to deal with how obviously to some people this financial challenge for them it can look like big because maybe it's their first time to experience something challenging that affects their life this much close. But Black Americans have faced way more close things, maybe it's way more than financial. It's just it's beyond that. So to them it does affect them, it does affect them, but they have just spoken a lot of things and maybe they wasn't hard, they were not hard. So they're like, we're not again standing up to say anything. They're like, let's keep it simple, it's everyone, And as we come to the end of this video, I want us to just know that every family in America is facing their financial challenges and they're learning how to cope with them, whether working overtime or working multiple jobs or trying to balance bills here and there. Everyone has the way they just deal with their financial things. And I feel like when it comes to financial, everyone has the way they face it and every community has the way they react over what happened to them. And so I feel like before you draw a conclusion to anything, you just have to consider different perspectives of things that you hear from online or whatever. But obviously there's real life beyond what we see online. So yeah, people have different ways to cope with this. So if you found this video informative and you enjoyed the balanced discussion, make sure to like, subscribe and share, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss one of our conversation. I hope to see you in the next video, but I would love most to hear from you guys in a most share your thoughts down in the comment section, and I hope I'm going to see you in the next time. Have a good one.